JK friends, welcome back to my home and welcome back to another fun, fantastic recess adventure. Now, today we are going to be doing something together that is very near and dear to my heart. I'll go ahead and tell you what it is. Today, we are going to plant a garden together. Now, I say this is very near and dear to my heart. It's because when I was growing up, I actually grew up out in the middle of the country. Remember, I'm from down south in Louisiana, so my family, instead of going to the store and buying all of our vegetables or even like our meat, we hunted, and we actually had a huge garden out at my papa's house. So when I was little, I helped plant corn and beans and peas and watermelons, and I would pick berries and get things ready and can things and make jam and help my grandmommy and my other grandma too also just plant flowers and keep them growing and healthy. So I always grew up around a lot of plants, and when I moved to Chicago and was always living somewhere where there wasn't a lot of green space, I decided it was time for me to learn how to start growing things inside, which is kind of tricky. My parents do that back at our house back home. They grow things like tomatoes or bananas, whatever will work. But it's a different environment here. That means the weather, like the things that we see outside. It means even the dirt that's outside and the way the air feels is so different here. So things can be a little easier to grow or harder to grow. But today, I am going to show you how I grow just some little bitty plants called herbs. You want to know something funny about the word herb? It actually starts with the letter H, but you don't even say it. But it's one of, well, unless you're British, it's called herbs. Anyways, so we are going to be making this tiny little herb garden together today. And I have some of my favorite herbs that I like to just keep around my house. Some of them my family introduced me to, and some of them I found on my own, or honestly, I just think they're pretty. I like flowers a lot. So if you would like to follow along and try making a garden of your own today, and you happen to have the supplies around your house or in your yard, if that's available to you, then go for it. If not, just have fun watching this video, seeing how I am taking care and bringing some of the outside inside while I'm here at home. And maybe one day you'll have a chance to do this too. So please keep watching as we spend recess together making this garden. Okay, friends, before we actually get started on building our garden, you have a very important decision to make. Of course, this decision is which plants do you actually want to grow. So I like gathering as much information as possible. Make sure you grab an adult if you want to do some research, but you could look up plants like I did on the internet to see what their uses are, which ones might be special to you. Like, for example, I have a special bird flower that's a marigold. It's so special to me that I painted it on my guitar. Maybe I'll get to plant it one day. But there are a few plants that my family has shared with me that I think are pretty special, like mint that's in this tea that my mom gave to me. Mint was also special for me growing up because my grandma used to crush up some mint leaves and put them in our water whenever we would have it at her house. So it's a plant that I'll be planting today that I think has good memories for me. Other plants that I really like are ones that have amazing smells. I really like things that smell like lemon, and lemon balm is one of the herbs that I'm going to be planting today. The smell of lemon is just really, really nice. It's good to use in essential oils that make your home feel healthy, and also, to be honest, JK friends, it just makes it smell so nice. So take some time, do some research, and when you make the decision on what you want to grow, it's time to build our garden. When you're ready to build your garden, there are several materials that are super important to have with you. The first one is something to actually hold your garden in. For me, I used an egg carton, well, half of an egg carton, and I like using an egg carton because, number one, you don't have to poke drainage holes for the water in the bottom. The extra material just soaks up the water so your plants don't drink too much water. And also, it's a great way for you to reuse something that you already have in your home instead of having to worry about throwing it in the trash or putting it in the recycling bin. I also have a bowl full of soil. This is leftover soil that I had from repotting a palm tree a few days ago at my house, but if you have access to a backyard or maybe another plant that has a lot of soil already in its pot, I don't know. Ask an adult and see if there's a place that you could even collect your own soil from if you're feeling a little adventurous. I also have a spoon just to make it easy to move the soil into my egg carton. I also have some hard paper, like cardstock or paint paper, and some markers, but I actually ended up using colored pencils to make some little place cards with the names of each plant on them. I have a spray bottle for watering my seeds, and of course, you can see at the bottom of this picture that I have all the seeds that I'm going to be actually putting into the soil. Today I am planting echinacea, lemon balm, mint, chamomile, lavender, and vervain. So once you decide on which items you're going to use, just bring them all together, put them in a nice work area like I did on this table, and you can have everything ready to go to build your garden. All right, friends. Now, before I'm actually putting my soil or my seeds or any of that in the garden, I'm going to make some markers so I remember where the seeds go. This is important because once you put seeds into the soil, you cover them up with more soil, and you can really easily forget which plant is planted in what spot. But if you make a little marker like this, kind of looks like a little flag or something you can poke into the soil, then it's easy for you to draw a picture or write the name of a plant so you don't forget where it goes. For my markers, I'm going to draw a picture of the plant. This is nice because my seed packets already had pictures of the plants on them, so I just took a second, did a little artwork, and my marker was finished. Another touch you may want to add onto your markers is the name of your plant, or if your plant has a really long name, like this flower does. Echinacea starts with an E, and I can't fit the whole word on there, so I'll just put the first letter of this plant's name. So, JK friends, this is a great time to practice writing your letters. I'm going to go ahead and make markers for all the plants I'm planting today. You can watch me finish them here. Alright, here are my finished markers. As you can see, I have a little picture, a little doodle, nothing too fancy, of what each plant will look like once it grows, and the first letter of each of these plants' names. And I'm going to go ahead and cut them out, like this, so we can start planting our garden. Now that my markers are done, I can grab my soil and start putting it into the container that I'm going to be putting my seeds in. This soil is great to use because it has big chunks of sticks and other materials that help water drain all the way down so our plant doesn't drink too much water. So I grab my egg carton, and it is time to start assembling my garden. As you can see, there are 6 little spots for all 6 of the plants I'm going to be putting in here. The first step, obviously, is to put the soil into each of these places. And I try to fill them up almost to the top, but I make sure to leave some space because the seeds need to be covered in a little blanket of soil. I'll go ahead and fill this whole thing up. All right, this looks good. It's time for seeds. All right, JK friends. Now I'm grabbing my seed packets and I'm matching them up with the markers that I made earlier. Don't forget to make sure that your marker matches the seed that you're putting into the soil so you know which plant is growing there. So I'll take my marker and gently place it down into the soil. Now I can open up my seed packets. You'll notice that some of the seeds are bigger than others. The biggest seed I planted today were for these echinacea flowers. Take a good look at all the seeds that I'll be using today, JK friends. Some of them are really big, some of them are very small. It makes me wonder what the size of a seed has to do with the size of a plant that grows from it. What do you think? Do you think a small seed will grow a small plant and a bigger seed will grow a bigger plant? Or is it something completely different that means a plant will grow bigger or smaller? I guess we'll just have to wait until they grow. That's one plant down. I'm really interested to see what some of these seeds look like. Give me a second and we'll get to see all of them while I plant the rest of this garden. Like I mentioned before, JK friends, all of these seeds are going to be a little bit different. Some of them are big, some of them are small, and some of them are different colors and shapes. I think it's so cool how they're all so different and they're all going to grow into different plants. Maybe ask someone at your house if there's a plant that you have around, or even maybe a favorite fruit or a vegetable that you like to eat. Do some research and see what the seeds for those fruits, vegetables, or those plants look like. It might be surprising to see how those plants started off as something so small and different than what they look like now. Okay, all of our seeds and our markers are in place, which means it's time for all of these little plants to get a drink of water. And I know just what we can use. Oh, actually, JK friends, these seeds are very small and my watering can is very big. Maybe there's something better than this. Ta-da! A spray bottle. We have one of these in our classroom. This is the perfect thing to give just enough water to these new plants. I'll just go ahead and give them a little bitty drink to get them started off so they can start growing soon. Now that the garden is finished, it's time for it to find a new home. I like putting plants here, on my coffee table. As you can see, my garden is just going to join the plants I already have here. I like this spot because it's close to my windows, and I also have artificial sunlight lamps clipped on for a little extra help when my plants are growing. I think they will grow just fine here and enjoy their new home. If you make an indoor garden for your home, what spot would your plants be the happiest? I can't wait to see how my plants grow in their new home. Thank you for joining me and happy gardening!